when you look at the 65 plus benchmark, is more of an administrative choice, a statistical choice to make it easier, I think, for population management, right? So it's not really about a biological reality. Why is this important to say? Many times, I'm digressing, but let me just quickly say this. Many times, especially as women, we don't understand the impact running a home takes on our brain and our bodies, and so many of us don't start caring for our bodies early enough, but we'll get more into that later, Sha. Anyway, in Nigeria, it is 60 years that is adopted by the government systems. So from age 60, for instance, you do not need to pay for your healthcare in government established hospitals or health centers. And you can see that if you look at some of the tax benefits that come with certain savings accounts, when you get to a particular age is when you can access certain accounts. For example, if you are saving up, if your company has been saving up with pensions, you may not be able to access your deposits except under certain circumstances, and you may forfeit a part of the fund, except if you're at a particular age, like the age benchmark. So it's important for us to note that while that 65 plus benchmark might be different from the 3 stages of old age we mentioned, it is important to understand what that means for us as people who are living in a civilized democracy or government. So that's the first thing we're going to look at, social and administrative definitions. Let's look at another one, which is societal roles. So culturally, old age is often defined by life transitions rather than years. It involves adjusting to retirement, changes in your living structure, or taking on new community and family roles. For example, one becomes grandparent or one becomes a community leader, which is very common, especially in Nigeria, where as people age, which is connected with their conduct as they were aging, they begin to get elected, appointed, or nominated for positions, even if it's just like a chairman within a community, the head of the family or the clan, to even other bigger societal roles, or even seen as a nominal grandparent for young people in the environment, even though other people might not be blood relatives. So these are kind of like the societal roles that are attached culturally to old age. I do remember one of the things that used to give me joy as a younger person is if you visit older people and they just give you a lot of things. They bring out the nice cookies that their kids send from abroad to give you with really nice cup of hot Milo when you come and visit with your parents. Those are all the things of being a societal role person. If a young person visits me, they may not have that kind of expectation that I will, give them all those things. But if they visit an older person culturally, there's the expectation of, okay, I'm going to have really nice akara, authentic akara and pap, depending on the time of day you visit the older person anyway. So let's move on now to part 2, which is old age, a blessing from God, which draws from our reading today, Genesis 24 verse 1. Let me just read it again. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. So old age, a blessing from God. According to Psalm 91:16, old age is a gift from God. So let's open to Psalm 91 verse 16. If anyone is there that can read it, please go ahead. Psalm 91 verse 16. Alright, I'll read it. With long life will I satisfy. Yes, sir.
Okay. Psalm 91:16 says, with long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation.
Thank you, sir. So, with long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. This is obviously God giving a promise to the psalmist, God's beloved David. And so we see that old age is actually a blessing from God. And I think the modern world we live in, thanks to advancements in public health care and sanitation and global peace to an extent, makes us not realize how much of old age is actually a blessing. Because in older times, not everybody's privileged enough to grow old, and even grow old in good health with good cognitive abilities like many people in our communities these days. So it is a long and full life that is a divine blessing and a reward for those who live and also love and trust God. So it's not just enough to just be an old person who's alive, but to truly live a life that was worthwhile, a life that shows how much you love and trust God, and is a divine blessing. Especially, I don't know if I don't know, people, why am I saying I don't know, that The Last of Us is an example. So let me say that The Last of Us is an example as a young old person based on our 3 categories today. As someone who is experiencing the divine blessing of aging in grace, aging in good health with wisdom, we all have met old people who are not like that. So it's truly a divine blessing to grow old. And in the Bible, old age is not presented as a period of survival, but more as a purposeful revival. I think this is important to note because a lot of the prophets in the Bible, not all of them were actually really, really young men like that, actually. Some people had experiences with God in their old age, maybe young old age, but in their old age. And so it can also be a moment of purposeful revival, especially for a believer of God. In each season in our life, if you remember God's teaching on timing, when He taught us about how to use each aspect of the day, morning, afternoon, night, God compared the night to the old age of one's life. And again, we all know God also uses the night time to speak to His beloved. So it's safe for us to also draw that allusion and connection that it is a time of purposeful revival for those who love and trust God. So that is that. So let's now go further in our part 2. Let's talk about satisfaction and quality, because we've already said that old age is a blessing. Let's break that down. So if you look at Psalm 91:16, the verse emphasizes that a satisfying life means that you experience a length of days with joy, peace, and fulfillment, as seen in the life of Father Abraham, whom God had blessed in all things, right? So if you say your old age is a blessing from God, then one of the markers of that is actually satisfaction and quality. And I do recall that many Sundays ago we had a conversation, and that was one of the things Prof. Lumiraim had mentioned about how when you love God and you live a godly life, there's a lot of satisfaction in your life, and you live a quality life. You understand what I'm trying to say? And I think that is one of the ways which one can mark. That's actually one of the ways I mark when things are going on spiritually. If I realize there's a lot of unease in my life, a lot of friction, things are just coming off weird, then it is often the times where I just go back to God and say, okay, hold on, what is this energy in my life right now? What is this calling me to do? Or is this an attack? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it's very important for us, as we're aging, we become very vigilant. We become very vigilant of the satisfaction and quality of the life we're living. There's something the psalmist has said. He has said, I can't phrase him fully, but I know the psalmist has said something like, he would rather not live than offend God. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And that is a man that understands the vital importance of old age is a blessing, because it's about a long relationship with God.